Hello, 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 and welcome to the village.
Welcome, y'all. Come on in.
Listen, it is Women's History Month, and we are shining the spotlight on our women entrepreneurs. That's right,
Mhm.
our female sheroes who are doing it big in our communities, right? So we want to talk to our female leaders this month to encourage all of you that you can do it, right?
That's true.
So listen, I hope you guys are celebrating Women's History Month in your schools. So, Coach Williams, what are y'all doing for Women's History Month? Nothing. What y'all doing?
We're taking it slow.
That means nothing.
That means we're collecting data.
Okay, y'all know what that means. Collecting data, nothing. Okay, so listen, y'all gotta do better. Do better, people.
What are y'all doing? We're gonna do
take notes.
whatever you're doing. That's what we're doing.
Okay, so we're doing the normal. You can at least start off with the daily trivia. Or
Yeah, we're doing the daily trivia
announcements. No, you're
and
not.
facts.
No, you're not. Okay, so also we are inviting lawyers, engineers,
right?
Females in STEM, right? To come
that's
to
what
our
you meant.
students.
Gotcha.
We're doing that. We're gonna have a DJ come during lunch, and we're gonna have a little lunch party with some, with like Beyonce and Rihanna and all the
Can I get an invite?
female R&B folks and rappers to kind of celebrate our females in music. So we just gonna do it big.
Y'all still in those? Thinking about those ideas, reflecting on that.
So anyway, so share your ideas. How are you guys celebrating Women's History Month?
Please.
Because listen, history is so important. I used to hate history.
Yeah.
Hated it.
It's kind of boring.
It is. And we're both mathematicians, both math teachers. So we love math and numbers. But I used to hate history. It wasn't until I went to the Morgan State University, fiction, and different books where I can learn about the past and relate it to my present. So we have to make sure that we're engaging our students when we're teaching history to make sure that they're really understanding what's the importance of what happened in the history and how it relates to now, right? That's the missing link. How does the past relate to our now?
So we don't repeat.
Exactly.
Some of those
and also to celebrate and to really recognize how far we've come, especially as women in this country. And for Black History Month, how to celebrate how far we've come as a people. So we have these months and different observances. Make sure as a school you guys are pausing to celebrate.
I like that. Oh, happy International Women's Day.
Thank you, girl. Thank you.
I was about to say, I think that's the perfect segue to welcome
Bejanae Kareem. Come on, welcome back. Yay!
Hey, ladies. So good to see you all again.
Hey. Yes. Welcome back to the village. Those of you who are tuning in, again, thank you for joining us. We are celebrating Women's History Month by shining a spotlight on our female entrepreneurs, leaders, educators, authors. So all month long, we're going to be, shining the spotlight on some sheroes this month. So today we have Bejanae Kareem. Thank you again for joining us in our discussion. I'm your girl, Dr. Roz, CEO and founder of the Village LG. And we have...
I'm Coach Williams. They know me, but I love to introduce myself. I am the content supervisor for the Village Leadership Group.
Anyway, so Bjna, introduce yourself to the village and tell us a little bit about why we need to even pause and celebrate Women's History Month.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, hey world, hey village. This is Bejanae Kareem. I am an educator, author, equity advocate, and founder of BK International Education Consultancy. Our social good mission is to help amplify education equity. And we do that by building educators' capacity to create and sustain innovative learning spaces. And so why it is key, essential for all of us to pause and celebrate female entrepreneurship is that it's because women are pioneers of creating, caring, and carrying community. So it's essential that we honor our past and present women trailblazers. So I'm so excited that you are having this special segment to honor women and also International Women's Day.
Yes. Thank you. And thank you for being our guest. Thank you. So listen, guys, again, we are celebrating women and girl power because, girls rock. And this girl Evelyn is on fire. I'm not gonna say.
Wait a minute.
Hey.
I know we can do all things.
But anyway, I'm excited. But listen, this is our month, so we want to shine. But I want to also be an inspiration to others, right? And to our young girls, and letting them know that you can do all things, that you can reach to the highest mountain, right? So we've come from Harriet Tubman all the way to Vice President Kamala Harris, right? So we need to make sure we're telling our children about the past, but also celebrating where we are today. So I want to talk about who inspired you. You know, so Bjna, who inspired you to make you think and believe that you can be a whole CEO and a founder of a company?
Right. Who told me I could be somebody, right? Exactly. I think it's like for many of us women out there, it's a combination of nature, that innate hustle that we have and drive, as well as nurture. And so for me, thinking about launching specifically BK International Education Consultancy, I take myself back to my high school experience, actually. And that's kind of where I sparked the love of STEM from. I had an amazing high school teacher who made science actually hands-on, which is what it's supposed to be, right? It's supposed to be hands-on. And I'm sure you all can relate to that in terms of math, right?
Yes.
And so it was hands-on, it was creative, it was fun. And this grew my interest in majoring in biology and chemistry when I went into college. And so my early career actually was in environmental science. I did some time in food science industries, and then later transitioned into education, and have been merging my passions for education, science, and tech ever since. Also, I have to pay homage to the women in my family because they were very industrial, very resourceful, very go get it, very entrepreneurial as well. And so with that combination, like I said, of my family DNA, so to speak, and then those experiences that I had in school, led me to entrepreneurship, so to speak. I taught elementary school for 10 years, and I recognized then that children need challenging, they need fun, they need those hands-on experiences early in their education, not just to high school, right? Because a lot of them have checked out by then. And so I realized that one way to help that bridge that gap is to help support teachers as well as parents and families with support in finding creative and even low-cost ways of creating those learning environments and experiences at home. So hence I launched BK International Education Consultancy, and that's what we've been doing ever since, just helping to support the adults in children's lives to better serve all children.
I like that.
Love it. So I know, thinking about, how I was raised, I was raised to, go to college, get a degree, get a good government job.
Right.
You work there for 30 years and then you retire. And that's pretty much it, right? So I really didn't have that that motivation or drive to start a business. So that is awesome that you had that at an early age. So I want to hear from you. You were an educator, you were a teacher. So how did you transition? Were there any challenges or lessons learned?
Absolutely. There's always challenges when you transition or you grow or you're stretching or you're learning something new, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I find the beauty in STEM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, STEAM actually, is because it is a learning process. And a part of that process, you fail, but you try again and you learn from what you learned, lessons learned from last time, and you do it different and you get a little further, right? And so, yes, absolutely.
Test that hypothesis.
Exactly. Test the hypothesis. That's right. The scientific method, or even if you're solving a problem, right? It's not about being perfect. It's not about being perfect, right? It's about shooting your shot and trying. And so for me, transitioning from an educator to an edupreneur, right? There's a lot of things that I didn't go to school for. I didn't know, right? Marketing. I don't know. Marketing, I didn't learn about marketing in school. But what I do know now, though, it incorporates the STEM process. You theorize like, hey, if I put this out there am I going to reach X, Y, and Z goal?
Right.
You test it out, you see if it works. If it don't work, you look at the data and you try and you tweak it a little bit and you try it again. So yeah, I didn't know anything about, I still don't. I'm still learning about marketing, right? But
you get your village for that.
That's right. You have the village and you learn and make those connections. And so like pricing and collaborating with others and networking. Like I'm really an introvert with extrovert tendencies, I would say. So, learning how to network and find solid partners and, reaching out to clients. Those are what I call on the job training. Just like being an educator. There's no amount of school that you can go to that's going to prepare you to be a quality educator. You have to learn on the job. Same thing.
Right. That's some hard training.
And that's real, though. That's real.
You talked about one of the essentials, the key things that I talk to people who want to become an entrepreneur. And I tell them, you have to network. Yes. You have to collaborate. So the power of collaboration is huge.
Yeah.
So, even in education, collaboration is critical, right?
You're not going to make it.
You have to collaborate. But even as an entrepreneur, you have to network. You have to call on Bjna, call on the village, call on other people who are doing what you are doing or what you aspire to do so that you can learn from them. And, follow them, shadow them, call them up, and say, hey, help me.
That's right.
So talk about that, Bjna. Like, how were you able to learn from some of the other folks in your industry who's doing something similar as you?
Yeah, let me tell you, I'm still learning. I am still learning. And I love the premise of the village because that is so true and is so right. I think especially as women and then women of color, we used to kind of shouldering it all on our backs, right? Yeah. And being independent and being strong and Black woman, right? And that's great. But that also can leave you burnt out and tired. And so networking and partnering and again, it's a test. You have to test it out and work, maybe work on a project with somebody, see how that goes before you go full force on a larger scale of a project. Because everyone has knowledge. Everyone brings something to the table. And how can you leverage that? And if you're new to the entrepreneur space, how can you leverage that wisdom so that you can reduce your learning curve, right? And get to what it is that you're passionate about and what you're out in the community to serve and to do, right? And how can you be your best self? So for me, it's just like this, tapping into networks such as the Village. LinkedIn is a great place to go as well because it's a free online Rolodex of people that you may not have ever thought to have access to. And just type in a couple keywords and you maybe can find somebody that you can, what I call, conduct informational interviews, right? Informational interviews, going to, this is pre-pandemic, but they're starting to bring them back, but also networking mixers and meetups, and finding somebody. I'm sure everybody has been inspired by somebody. So even reaching out to that particular person or persons, it doesn't just have to be one mentor, and seeing if it's okay if you, asking some questions and if they're willing to help support you and guide you. And sometimes that knowledge may cost, and that's okay. And if it's going to help reduce your learning curve, then invest in it, because essentially you're investing in yourself, right?
Oh, she is doing it. The next nugget is invest in you. Invest in you. So, and when people hear the word invest, they think just money and financial resources, but also time, right? So you have to invest in the time to develop yourself, making sure that you're getting proper self-development, training. You may have to take a class. You may, like you said, get a coach or a mentor. So you have to make sure that you're sharpening your tools. You just can't say, well, I'm an expert at this, so let me just start a business. No, there's other, like you said, marketing. Just because you are great in one area doesn't mean that you don't have to, do some research and strengthen those other areas. Because again, we want to make sure that your business excels, that it grows, that it's successful.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to hit the right people around you, but you
That's
also
right.
want to make sure you invest in you.
That's
All
right.
right. So
Yes,
Bjna, can you
circle.
speak to that? Investing in you.
Absolutely. I think you hit on it. Like it's all those things, having a coach, having a mentor, going to trainings, right? We're avid learners around here, right? We can't just be about the business of education if we are not educating ourselves. And so to and especially to operate at an optimal level, that's a forever learning journey, right? And there's no company out there that isn't in position to grow in some particular area. There's no company, there's none. There is none. And so some of the programs that have really helped to pour into us, and some were free, by the way. So it's like win, even more of a win, right? Um, One Bank of America Institute for Women's Entrepreneurship. They have one in partnership with Cornell, and that's a free program. Yeah, it's several weeks. It's mini series of kind of like self-paced course, but you're in there with cohorts of people. Great resources. I'm also a part of the Teach for America network, and so they are launching some support services for their alumni around social innovation. So that's a recent one that I've been a part of. Um, the Small Business Development Center, they have a lot of free resources that, I mean, like, yeah, just phenomenal.
Resource.
Phenomenal. Resource.
Exactly.
This is what I
Score
want.
is another one.
Sorry.
No. Go ahead, Coach. Yeah, Score. I mean,
So this is, I hear like how she started all her stuff and her things, but you know, my sister keeps, I'm sorry, Dr. Roz keeps trying to push me off the cliff. But Bjna, how did you know when it was time? Like, when did you know it was time for you to start your
Yeah.
stuff?
Yeah. So for me, yeah, I would say it was right around the time that I felt like I wanted to do more, and I wanted to do more with my time. I wanted to have more autonomy. And so for me, I felt like I couldn't necessarily do that in the school system. And so, you have those come to Jesus moments, right? Where you have to reflect like, hey, what is it that I really am passionate about? How can I continue to be of service? That was my thought. And so for me, I'm a list person. So I always write down things, and people go about it different ways. Some people dip their toe in the water. Some people jump off the cliff. It depends on your personality type, right? For me, I'm more of like, I need a plan, and then I get out there and see what's out there. And to be honest, in some cases, there's never really like one finite way. Like, okay, this is the time per se. You'll see some messages, from the universe, like, yeah, okay, go ahead and get that. And if anything, just dip your toe in there and just start small. That's the thing. I think as educators too, like, thinking about it in the classroom, we got to teach all these things at one time. But no, and when you're entering into entrepreneurship, start small, and then build your way, and you'll continue to refine your process. And because we've even had to adjust like our mission and our focus. At first, I was like, yeah, I want to do this, and that. And I was like, wait a minute, okay. By year 3, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's way too much. That might have been ambitious. So I have to dial it back. So it's okay. Come up with a plan and work your plan, even if you start small.
I like that.
I love it. Now, Bjna, a lot of teachers, sometimes they'll, write a great book, and that's one of the ways that they segue into becoming an entrepreneur, right? That book leads them into a whole nother direction where now they have speaking engagements, and they're doing a lot of different things because of that book. So I want to hear from you, like, what are some things that you do to help authors?
Absolutely. So one thing, so you can approach authorship in a variety of different ways. So one is your mission, is your calling, is your vision, and how are you supporting others? Because that is the grounding for businesses as well, right? Um, is that what the book represents? Because the book is just a tool, it's just a product. So are you wanting to develop something larger than that? Or is it just the book going to be your main focus? So I think being clear about that is one key, right? Because you may want to write several different books, right? They may be on related topics or they're on different topics. So is the book your business? Or does it fall under a larger umbrella of what your mission and what your focus is? And then for me, because I have been an educator, And I understand about having to spend out of pocket for materials and for supplies.
Okay.
um, and to increase the learning environment, what I do is I help support authors to be able to leverage grants to, one, increase their readership, two, increase sales, and three, get their books in the school. So specifically, I work with authors who, they may be children's book authors, right? And they want to get their books in the schools. And the great thing is that literacy is a thing. Like, literacy is a need, especially with the pandemic. So if you have a children's book, you're that is perfect, because children are always going to need materials to read, right? Classroom teachers are always going to need materials to supplement the curriculum and to read. So that's one of the services that we help to support. And then I also partner with Create and Educate, and they are phenomenal,
Yes.
with also helping authors to position their book, learn the language of the education, environment, because it's a whole different creature and
Oh, I
culture,
was about to
right?
say, yep.
Right. And how to get in contact with leadership to be able to create that exchange. So we work in partnership a lot of times with, how can you help funding to get your books in the school, so you're not having to donate and give away free books when they could be paid for, and then you can have a partnership with a school that way, right? So yeah, so that's one of the ways that we help authors.
Awesome. So we're going to start to close out. I know. I can keep going on and on and on.
I just have to come back again, just talk some more.
You heard that. You said she's coming back. We're locking you in.
Exactly. So can you give us some final words your final thought before we close out?
Yeah, absolutely. So just in honoring women, I think it's so important, everything that you said, that to tap into the network, and there are people willing to support you, just being comfortable with asking. Also invest in yourself, whether that's professional development or self-care, and developing a balance. Because if you're an entrepreneur or a serial entrepreneur, it's kind of like, when do you turn your day off? So defining when do you turn your day off, and even adding self-care to your calendar, instead of having it fill up with just meetings. Put those moments in there as well. And together collectively, we are better together, and we go further. So that's what I would like to say, far as just as closing remarks and words.
Awesome. And once again, how can people reach Bejanae Kareem?
Absolutely. So you can connect with us. The quickest way is to go on our Linktree, Linktree/BK Consultancy, because it has all our socials. It has our websites on there, as well as our upcoming Grant Writer for Authors Masterclass, March the 19th. Yes.
Oh, March the 19th. Okay.
March the 19th. It's from 10 to 2 Eastern. It's virtual, so you can connect anywhere you are. You can be in your pajamas, join in. And then we're also going to have a grant writing course for educators as well, so they can fully stock their classroom in their schools and get what they need, right? And that's going to be in May. So go to Linktree. You can connect with us. We're there. Hope to see you on IG.
Oh, you will.
Or in our class.
Right. Now, don't worry, guys, because she's a part of the village.
That's
so
right.
Again, Bjna, don't forget about the village and share all of your information within the village. So just come onto our page and you can share all of your information with us, and stay connected to the village, please.
Absolutely. Would love to.
So thank you.
Thank you much.
Whoo, that was a lot.
Girl, I gotta go. I gotta be somewhere March 19th.
Me too, girl.
Okay, so
I'll pick you up.
Okay, well, I'm gonna be in my pajamas.
Oh yeah, that's right. But we can, come together.
Okay.
Eat and Zoom
little brunch
in our pajamas.
All right,
okay.
I like it.
So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed our discussion as we shine the spotlight on our female entrepreneurs as we celebrate Women's History Month.
What in the world?
This girl is. Are we singing now?
Okay, never mind.
All right. So again, I'm your girl, Dr. Roz.
And I'm Coach Williams.
Continue to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at The Village LG. And don't forget, teacher leadership is a mindset, not a position. See you next time.
Bye, guys.